What is going on, brothers and sisters? Eric Rosen here, your internal strength coach, here to show you how to overcome your greatest challenges so you can shine your brightest light. Getting started a little bit later tonight, but you know I'm still going to show up. So the coaching is available, giving away the free 30-minute consultations to see if the coaching is right for you. Also giving away free consultations for personal training, as well as one more training session. I had somebody claim another one just the other day. So if you want to get on that, message me on here. So the topic that I wanted to cover with you guys tonight has to do with like a strong inner feeling. And it's not like feelings of just like, like when you're like in an overly emotional state, if there is such a thing, but it's more like when you're just kind of like going about your day, and you get overwhelmed like with this strong like feeling that like almost kind of comes out of nowhere. So like probably the most common form is when you're going to do something or you're going somewhere with some people and out of the fucking blue, someone is like, hey, I don't think we should do this. Like, I just got a really bad feeling about this. It seemed like a good idea, but I can't explain this, but it just feels like we're not supposed to be doing this right now. And hopefully you listen to that person, because that's like a form of like protection essentially coming up, right? It's like that person's getting that feeling. And a lot of times this is, I think, the most common form is because it's a form of protection. It's like it's looking out for like your own safety, your own greatest well-being. So there's other forms. There's the fear in the form of resistance. So this will come up as a feeling whenever you're doing something that is in alignment. You do something that is good for you, and you have this like fear, this anxiety that comes up. And all this really is a lot of times is just this fear that you need to plow through. It's really just an obstacle that's kind of in your way to wherever it is that you're going. It's there for your opportunity, for your growth. So rather than freak out and be like, wow, this is fucked, I can't do this, or I'm not on the right path, realize, is it like this anxious fear, where it's like you don't want to go forward with something because it feels uncomfortable. So learning to dissect, what that feeling actually is that's coming up. Now, there's also a much more deeper form of fear, right? It's like the deep one that, people can find themselves like getting stuck in. And this is mostly for the people. And, and I've been there too, where you're a very heady person, you're in your head a lot, you think a lot, and you're just very intellectually stimulated. And what can happen a lot of times is, if depending on your mood, if you're thinking a lot, your negative thoughts can actually kind of start to cascade on you. And before you know it, you're creating this reality that isn't even real. It's not truth. It's just like what your thoughts have created. And it can result in, feelings of like hopelessness, even like depression, and in a way, like you're kind of tormenting yourself. So, rather than get stuck in that, it's like, stop for a second, clear your head, examine the facts, intellectually, right? Think about the facts, because, if you are a heady person, and realize that, it's your thoughts that have actually created this fear, created this fake truth, this fabrication of the truth. And just realize that, this is essentially just your mind playing tricks on you. Okay. So fuck, getting stuck in your head. It's like, get out of that shit and just realize like what's really going on. This is a huge lesson for me. So that's a topic that, I can go deeper into with you guys at some point, but for now we'll leave it at that. Also wanted to talk about the good feelings that come up, because it's not just the bad shit that comes up, right? It's like the good ones too. These good, strong feelings. There's like the good feeling of, I feel like I should be doing this right now. I feel like this just feels right. Like I can't explain it. There's no logic behind it, like whatsoever. But I just feel like this is the right thing to do. It's just you're being guided. It's just a form of like intuition. So, follow that shit would be that's what I do. I mean, and it's got me to like some really just awesome and amazing places. Just like the past year or two, I would say, since I went from being just an overly intellectual person and moving more into, trusting my feelings, trusting my own intuition. So there's also, there's like the flip side of it too, of, where it's um, like a good feeling, but it's a good feeling, but it's not like a pure good feeling. It's like coming from the ego. Okay. So it would be like, I want to do this because this is just what I fucking want. And I know it's going to make me feel good, and you do it and you feel good, but it's like, it gives you a satisfaction, but it's like a very like surface level satisfaction. So like, be on the lookout for that. I'm sure like it's happened to you before. Um, rather than, indulge in like something that is basically just going to satisfy your ego, like make your ego feel good, like watch for like these more pure good feelings that can come up. Um, Also, kind of cycling back to this, this feels good, but I can't explain it, just that very pure form of feeling. A lot of times, like when the stuff comes up, your mind can come in right afterwards and try to talk you out of it. Your brain kicks in and it starts to go, well, I don't know about this. Let's think about this. Or, you remember that last time, or what about this, or what about that, or even, especially if it's like more of a public, if you actually decide to take action, you decide to take, action out of this feeling, and it like goes public to other people, you'll get other people trying to like talk you out of it too. So really that's just another way besides just your own mind trying to talk you out of shit. So you really just need to learn to trust yourself, and it's a process. Hopefully, it starts with like smaller little decisions that come up, just like more inconsequential things that even if you're wrong, it's okay. I mean, I can tell you that one of the biggest decisions that I ever made was this feeling of like turning down a pretty good contract as a consultant to be a project manager at this company, making good money. And it's not like I had any other like real options at that time, at least that lucrative. And long story short, like it just didn't feel right. So ultimately I turned it down, like I just trust, my own intuition on it. There was no like real, the logic all said like, take the job. But, I trusted what I had. So um, I also want to say that when, in addition to, you know, your mind, or even a feeling, like if you're like, okay, I felt this feeling, this feels good, this feels pure, I'm going to act on it. The mind tries to talk you out of it, or you can have this feeling of doubt, just like this feeling of doubt that like kicks in. And a lot of times this happens when, you know, you're, it's like you're wanting to move forward with something, but then you're afraid that you can't move forward because of like the hangups that you have, the blocks that you have that ultimately have to be addressed through shadow work. So, I have this statue of Archangel Michael, and it's a fucking cheap statue. It was like made in China, and I didn't have it for that long before one of his wings broke off, just like the tip of one of the wings. And at this point in my life, I'm already like, I don't believe in just like happenstance, like shit just happens at random. So I thought that's interesting, like this cool statue that I got, that's like kind of like an altar piece, its wing broke, and I never knew what it meant until today. And it means that, You know, like even like when your wing is like broken, you still got to just move forward. You know, you just have to still be, you know, taking the bait, taking the guidance that's being given to you out of this feeling, out of this intuition, and still moving forward with it. Okay. You may not have all the tools in the toolkit yet to fix that broken wing, but those tools that you might find, they might be on some, you know, path that's like further up the line. And guess what? You're never going to like be able to get to that path if you're just sitting at the fucking starting line, afraid to ever start anything. Okay. So you just got to fucking get going. You've got to, you know, stop with the inaction bullshit and just move forward. And, you know, move forward, not just like that, you know, aggressive moving forward, but, you know, you can have a spark, you know, light you when you first move forward, but ultimately, as you're going about it, you want to do it with balance. You want to do it with moderation. You want to do it with patience and most of all, purpose. Okay. So that's what I got for you guys today. Getting a little bit, maybe a little philosophical, a little touchy-feely with the feeling stuff, but this is just what came to me today. So I'm going to wrap it up and move on with my Saturday evening. But yeah, that's what I got for you. Again, still got one more session for personal training available. Consultations for that are free, and then the consultations for the coaching. Yeah, so looking forward to speaking with you guys tomorrow night. I think the way things are trending, I think the topic for tomorrow is actually going to be more about the mind, about, you know, I just felt like some of the things coming up today have a lot to do with mental state, you know, with the mind, and kind of just using your thoughts to kind of create your reality instead of letting them create a reality for you. So you guys have an awesome night. I'll see you tomorrow.